Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. And I'm joined once again by Steve Heapy, who is, of course, the chief executive of Jet2.com and Jet2 Holidays. And Steve and I just very decided to record this today because I've had a number of calls this morning, Steve, from travel agents really struggling. We've written a story as well. There's a lot in the Nationals about the flight chaos, cancellations, delays, and obviously just at a time when we've got lots of people traveling for the half term. And I know, I'm sure it's causing some headaches. So very kindly, you've come on to just talk about what you know in terms of what's happening at the airports, and then perhaps we can talk about how you're responding as an airline and a tour operator. So can you just tell us why this issue is happening, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think to boil it down to its simplest form, it is a lack of resource in the system. We are seeing flights delayed at airports for many reasons. There's many parties involved in getting a flight away. You need ground handlers, you need that they do the baggage loading for some people and the check-in for some people. In airports we do our own, so we're not affected in that way. You need security staff, you need onboard catering, and all these companies are struggling at the moment. So you've got the ground handlers that are understaffed and not able to do what they need to do. You've got the airport caterers that are understaffed and not able to load all the bars on board. You have airport security that are understaffed and causing massive queues at the airport. And you've got some airlines that are understaffed as well. One case in particular at Manchester that caused the whole airport to clog up at weekend. Unfortunately, the airline is the sort of last person in the chain, and all these other elements of the chain, if they're not functioning correctly, can delay the whole thing. At Jet2, we are responsible for our own baggage handling at many bases, our own check-in at all bases, and we've been recruiting since September last year. We didn't wait for the bounce back. We started recruiting much earlier and anticipated the bounce back. I think the problem is perhaps that some people waited for the bounce back and started recruiting then, which is too late. The problem is exacerbated by the fact that if people need to work airside, they obviously need to get an airside pass. In order to get an airside pass, you need to demonstrate 5 years of employment history. So that is start date, end date for the whole of the 5 years to show that you've had continuous employment, and where there's a gap in employment, that has to be explained. When you are getting the references together, you have to contact the previous companies or the previous educational establishments and get the references. Now, if you think for the last 2 or 3 years, some people that ordinarily would work in an airport weren't able to because there was no flights, and they may have had 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. That means you've got to get 2, 3, 4, 5 references, plus any references from previous employment in the last 5 years. We've got the situation where some businesses that they've worked for have gone bust. Some businesses they've worked for are short-staffed and unable to provide references. Some businesses are just deprioritising providing references for other companies because it's of no benefit to them. Educational establishments are closed for half term at the moment, etc. So it's hard to get these references, and you quite simply can't put people in an airside position till this is done.
Okay, so whilst you're saying you acted very quickly because you anticipated it, and you're saying others didn't, you obviously do have some sympathies with some of these different elements of the chain, because you're saying actually there just aren't the people there to recruit, even if they got on with it a bit sooner.
Some of it is down to the airside pass problem taking much longer than it should do, but some of it is because some companies failed to anticipate the bounce back soon enough. They waited. We've got a lot of airside passes to get through, but we're working on this every day, and we're getting more people into the system every day. But we had the trouble at Manchester. You saw the queues in the 2-week queues, and they were massive, and that caused the whole airport to clog up. And our flights were affected because of that, because the bag system was loaded up because other airlines' ground handlers didn't have enough staff. We did, our ground handlers, our own operation, but the bag belts were completely clogged off and we couldn't get our own bags off. So we're in the situation where other companies are causing us problems.
Yeah. And what you were obviously affected by that issue at Manchester at the weekend, and you obviously had some delays. Did you have to cancel any flights completely? I mean, how were you left? What was the situation for you?
No, we haven't cancelled any flights so far this year, but we had quite lengthy delays. We tend not to cancel. We like to get people away on holiday and bring them home because we've got responsibilities under the package travel regulations, so we have to do that. But we did experience some quite lengthy delays, and
do you have to compensate people for that? Isn't it over 5 hours, or do you have to start paying out compensation? Is that your responsibility, or?
Some of the delays are subject to EU 261 compensation, so they will be entitled to compensation on the flight element. Yeah,
okay.
If they booked a package holiday,
that's an added cost for you when you're saying it's through no fault of yours.
Yeah, I mean, there's various things going on at the moment that are causing delays, and I see the French decided to upgrade their air traffic control system, not during the pandemic, not during the winter, but let's do it in the summer and hold everyone up. So there's problems there.
And that's a problem for us, isn't it? Because it's then affecting the flights coming in inbound, which is then making it harder for us to get them, then get people away.
Outbound and inbound. I mean, if we have an air traffic control delay on our slot 1, we land late, we then take off late, there might be a delay coming back, and then we've got another rotation to somewhere else, and you might get 2 more delays. So all that knocks on. And if you had all these little things on, it might not be, one delay of 3, 4, 5 hours. It might be 5 constituent parts that result in you having a delay of 5 hours. The whole thing has to work properly, and it's not at the moment because there are some significant elements of the system that aren't working properly.
Yeah. And what's your prediction then, Steve, I mean, are we through the worst, because this is when most people were traveling to get away on their half-term break? Give us your prediction for what's going to happen the next few days. And then also, people are now worrying about the summer, because there's all these reports now in the National saying, oh, it's all going to be chaos. And I've got agents who said they've got people ringing them up going, oh God, shall I just cancel? Shall I postpone again? We're just getting this demand back, and we don't want people generally to start being nervous again about traveling.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm confident we will continue to operate. We're bringing more people in every day. We're getting them security checked, and we will be running a full program. We may be impacted by other parties that aren't operating on all cylinders, but we will be looking to provide the full service. We've got our own handling, our own checking staff. We're not reliant on third parties. We're in total control of that. So I think we'll be all right, but it depends how the rest of the airport system goes. It's quite disappointing that once again we're getting bad publicity because of a few players in the market that are not doing what they need to do. A bit like with the refund situation during the pandemic, a few companies didn't give refunds or didn't give them quick enough and tarnished the industry, and we're in danger of that happening again.
Yeah, which would be a real problem. And some of the people I've been speaking to said that communication would really help, but there's absolutely none. Now, I'm sure this is another problem because it's more resource you need to communicate, but certainly agents feel that they're really in the dark. They don't, I think there's one example where this agent's clients had booked with another tour operator actually, but the tour operator had cancelled directly with the client, hadn't told the agent who the client had booked through. So the agent had no idea, couldn't help. The booking that they'd made was still live on the tour operator's system, so they couldn't even change it because otherwise they'd have had to have gone through a cancellation. Yet the client had already been emailed to say your flight's not going to happen. So there's a big there's obviously the operational problem, Steve, but how big is this issue about communicating to customers? And obviously if they're through travel agents, I mean, travel agents are tearing their hair out.
Well, it's very important that companies communicate properly, because at the end of the day, customers need to know what's going on. there are sometimes issues with all companies communicating with customers. There's a lot to do. You have a delay you're trying to manage. You've got customers in the airports in the UK that you're trying to have to work out what's going for. You're trying to get another slot in the air traffic control system to get out later. You've got to coordinate that with the slot in the place where you're trying to fly to later. At the same time, you're trying to sort out accommodation, perhaps for the people who aren't coming home on the night they should be doing in resort. And there's a lot to do in terms of managing that delay. Now, that shouldn't be an excuse for not communicating with the customers, but it's sometimes not as timely as people would want. But I can certainly say, because I've been involved in some of the issues at weekend, that we communicate as early as we possible with people. But sometimes it takes a little bit longer. You know, with social media nowadays, people find out about a delay and say, I've seen my flight's delayed, when will it be going? And very often an airline doesn't know when it's going to be going. It just knows the flight's delayed at that point.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a little difficult, but we live in a modern day and age. Customers have access to information quickly, and they expect it from airlines and tour operators, and that's something we're aiming to do. And I think all other companies should do it. It's just about being upfront and honest.
Yeah. So if agents watching this today, Steve, are getting phone calls now from concerned customers about the holidays they've got coming up,
yeah,
and they're saying, "Oh, it looks like it's going to be chaos. You know, is my flight likely to go ahead? Is it going to happen?" You know, this agent said to me, she goes, "I don't know what to say. I don't know. You know, we've got no idea. But what would be your advice? I mean, should agents be, you know, pressing ahead as if the bookings they've got are going to go ahead and they shouldn't be trying to rearrange anything?"
I would urge agents to go ahead and book their Jet2 holiday. Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
We will, you know, we'll do our best to get people away. We haven't cancelled the flight so far, touch wood. Yes, we do get away late where there are impacts, but we do get them away, and we'll fight to get people on holiday. We'll do what we can.
Yeah, we've got to pull together as an industry.
Well, we have.
Because this reputational damage, it could be significant. You had a minister this morning on national TV, Lord Stephen Parkinson, saying the industry was completely at fault. They should have known better. You know, they should have got, you know, staffed up for this. So it's painting the industry in a bad light again.
Well, it is, but I think the minister has a very scant understanding of the recruitment process, the seasonality of the industry, and the work that's involved in getting people their airside passes. Perhaps he should swat up on those particular subjects and then comment.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, look, really good to get your take on the acute issue that we're seeing at the minute. Let's hope that doesn't continue for too long, and let's hope the summer is better. While I've got you, Steve, can I just talk to you about general demand? Because we're hearing from people that actually there's now almost not enough in the market for the summer. There's so much demand. Customers are wanting all their family holidays with all their interconnecting rooms and all the things they want, and actually they're not going to get it. They've got to move quickly if they want a summer holiday, you know, with certain elements to it this year, haven't they?
They have. There's huge demand at the moment, and I would urge customers to book early, because certainly with Jet2 holidays, the price you see is the price you pay. There'll be no surcharges. You know, if prices go up, we're in an inflationary environment. So lock in the price now. You won't pay any more. With Jet2 holidays, of course, £60 deposit. Award-winning airline and tour operator. I would urge people to book before availability starts drying up. But in terms of the delays, etc., at the airports, I think we've got to stick together as an industry, as you said. You know, at Manchester too, we have cancelled a load of flights in order to ease the system at the airport because of the blockages.
That just came through. We just saw that about a quarter of their flights, I think it said. That's
right, yeah. Because I think it was that was blocking the airport up at weekend. So that will ease things. And similarly in other airports, I think, you know, we're fighting hard in all the airports we fly from to get through these issues. I think we've got a track record of fighting issues when they come up, and we are fighting very hard to make things right for our customers and to get people away. And I think people also need to remember the staff involved at this time as well, our colleagues, because they're doing a very hard job at the moment. You know, they're flying long hours on an aircraft, they're getting delayed, they're not getting home till early hours of the morning, they might not be having much rest and then flying again. And like many people in the economy at the moment, you know, they're tired, and the last thing they need is customers kicking off on aircraft, etc.
Yeah. Are you seeing some of that, some sort of boost towards staff over the delays and things like that?
Yeah, customers are having delays, not at check-in with us. Our check-in's fine, but they're having delays at security in the airport. They're then getting airside in the airport in the afternoon. Many of the retail shops are closed because there's either no stock or they haven't got staff to man them in the afternoon.
Yeah,
So they can't.
This agent I spoke to said that her clients had been given food vouchers because their delay was, over a certain time, and then they went to the airport and there was literally not a single food outlet that had enough food to feed everyone.
Yeah, so certainly on the second wave in the afternoon, some of the food outlets don't have a lot left. Some of them are closed because they don't have staff to open the shop all day. And as I said, our in fact, all airlines onboard catering is being affected by the onboard catering company that are short-staffed. So airlines may not have a full stock of goods on board, and customers are getting, understandably, very annoyed about this. So our customers are seeing people that have had a delay at at security, not being able to get something in the airport. There might not be as much food, etc., as is normally loaded, and they understandably get a bit annoyed. I think I probably would, actually.
Yeah, of course. All right. So worth agents sort of explaining to customers that there are these issues, but ultimately we still want to get them away. And once they get to resort, are all the hotels fully staffed, and is the holiday experience good when they get there?
Yeah, we're getting good feedback from resorts. I think we are impacted probably a little bit more in this country because of Brexit. Don't forget, we're several 100,000, if not million, people short in this country because we can't have as many workers from the EU. There are some challenges in other countries, but of course they don't have the Brexit issue on top of that.
Right.
But we are hearing generally good feedback from resorts that things are working well. So once people get there, hopefully they can relax. But in terms of Jet2 holidays, we're doing everything we can to get people away. As I said, we haven't cancelled. I think we haven't cancelled a single flight yet. We're doing what we can.
And you've got a lot of capacity. We keep getting press releases from you. You're opening new routes from different bases. You're putting capacity on. So it feels positive. It's just, this is such a shame that this is such a blip, really, when things were going in such a positive direction.
Yeah, I mean, we were, for the last few weeks, I've been thinking not about COVID and not about perhaps the here and now, but the future. And we are very optimistic about the future. And then we've got, yet another bump in the road.
Yeah.
And, all the other people in the airport operation need to up the game, get the people in and start giving some good customer service, because these things, like the failure of companies to refund, is damaging for the industry, particularly when you get, members of the Houses of Parliament from all sides criticising the industry, which it's very easy for them to do. They have, as I said, scant understanding of how the industry works, but that doesn't matter because...
they never gave us any specific support through the really dark times, did they? And so, of course, people did have to lose staff. And
exactly, I remember the government not being prepared and making decisions at 5 minutes' notice, closing airspace, etc. So, we're still recovering from the uncertainty that caused.
Okay. Do you think the summer will be sort of blighted by this? When it's the real getaway at end of July, or do you think that all these companies you're talking about, do you think there's time to get, that the summer might be smoother? Do you think there'll be time for them to get up to speed?
Yeah, there's time. I think all the companies I know are working on recruiting people. Things will get better. I think this is about as bad as it will get. We've got the bank holiday weekend. A lot of people looking to get away, but everyone's trying really hard to get more staff in, and I think everything will start to improve from here.
Okay. All right.
But I think, these government ministers that start criticising, I think they need to realise that because of the pandemic and the actions that were taken, they've made the travel industry not a very attractive industry to work in. It was the first industry to go into lockdown, the last industry to come out of lockdown. And it's because of those actions that it's no longer got the attraction that it used to have. And I think that's a problem that perhaps the government needs to get involved in solving.
What would you want them to do, Steve? What can they do?
I don't know. Well, I think they should help us in trying to improve the visibility of the industry, and that it is somewhere you can work and not be worried about going into lockdown again. Give us some confidence.
Yeah. So some confidence that we're not going to be shut down.
Yeah.
Maybe a nice budget to do a massive national TV advertising campaign to showcase what a great sector there is and what fantastic breadth of roles and opportunities there are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We work in the most exciting industry there is. You're taking people on holiday, you're taking people to the sun to relax, recharge the batteries. It's a fantastic industry. Yeah. The most exciting industry there is. I wouldn't want to be in any other. And I think, if the government can share some of that vision and excitement, it will help us get more people back into the industry. But many people left and didn't come back.
Rather than having a go at us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a cheap PR stunt, I think, help us get the industry back on its feet and improve the perception, because lots of people left the industry and didn't come back.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were the first to go into lockdown and the last to come out.
Yeah.
We got some support during the pandemic, but not as much as the industry asked for. So I think the government should be working with us to help the industry recover.
Yeah. All right, Steve. Let's end on a positive note. And you've smiled. This is got it out of you at some point.
Exactly.
But, in terms of where people are booking, is it literally across the board, or are there certain places, just any trends you're seeing? Just give us an idea of what you're seeing in your your bookings.
Everywhere's booking strong at the moment. I don't think there's anywhere that is weaker than other places. We're seeing good demand. I would urge people to have a look, go onto our website and see what's around. But things are booking up quickly, and we've got lots of free child places still available. We've still got our sale on. We've still got family products, etc. Lots of flights to many destinations. We fly every day, several times a day. That's the advert out the way. But
expect nothing less on here.
No, there are still
introducing a thing where every time you say Jet2 holidays, we we sound a little bell or something.
There are still lots of package holidays you can trust available to book on our website.
Okay. And you mentioned bumps in the road, but you also talked about how your prices were locked in. So what, just your view running a company with the kind of cost of living crisis that we're hearing about and the inflation, does that concern you?
It is quite worrying, the inflationary increases that are coming through. Some of it may fall out of the system. Of course, inflation is a measure of year-on-year price rises. So you get something that's in the numerator of the equation one year that moves into the denominator next year. And therefore, these things, drop out after 12 months. But we are seeing some issues from global supply chains. There are some issues caused by the conflict in Ukraine. And as much as people do or don't want to hear it, there are some issues caused by Brexit as well. And these things all need unblocking. And I think we could see quite significant price increases for some time, which is why, again, I would urge our travel agent partners, don't just look at summer 22, look at winter, look at summer 23. It's the same for that. There'll be no...
You haven't put prices up for 23 at the moment. If you book, you could book this year, but you could also book your next year holiday, get the availability and get a good price. And you're saying actually,
we're not going to come back.
Could be the best.
Yeah, we're not going to come back and impose a surcharge on people.
No, but you might put prices up if it,
we may have to put prices up if our input costs go up, but we will only do that on holidays we haven't sold, not on holidays we have sold, as some companies do. So I think now is a great time to urge customers to think about summer 23, lock in the prices, book all inclusive.
Yeah.
You know, it's all done for you. Don't take a chance on the interest rate, on the exchange rate, don't take a chance on inflation and price rises over there. Book an all-inclusive holiday with Jet2 Holidays and lock in the price.
Is the bell. Just one thing on customers though, because when you talk about your sort of operational costs might increase, but what about customers and how much money they've got, how much disposable income they've got? Do you worry that they might not be able to afford a holiday? Some of your customer demographic, you know, they might be squeezed.
I do, yeah, but that's why, you know, the tour operators have got to be sensible, not keep prices high. We've got to offer value for money. We've got our part payment scheme, so people can pay in installments for the holiday. Luckily, we live on an island with pretty rubbish weather, so people still want to go away on holiday. It tends to be seen as an essential purchase rather than a discretionary purchase. And whilst that still remains, I think we've still got a very vibrant holiday sector. But people tend to think about spending money when they have it. So I think we've got to try and get people to commit now before any other price rises bite.
Okay, all right, good advice. Well, it's pretty miserable in London today, Steve. I don't know about where you are, but it's this kind of weather that makes people want to go away. So hope they all
bit grey where I am, but that's not bad for this time of year up here. So I'm
balmy. Surprised you're not in a little vest top.
I was before I put my shirt on specially for you, Lucy.
To be corporate. All right.
Exactly.
Okay. Always great to speak to you. Thank you for coming on. It's really good of you to come on and just sort of explain what some of the issues are and give some advice to agents who really are struggling, just, you know, like you are, but they're at the front line, aren't they? So thank you.
The advice I'd give is let's stick together as an industry. Let's be proud of the industry we work in and the service we provide. These issues are temporary. The last thing we need is another bump in the road, another slowdown. So let's stick together, be proud of what we do, get good customers in and give them a fantastic experience with Jet2 Holidays. Ding, ding.
All right, Steve.
Thanks, Lucy.
Speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.